Hey, thanks for tuning in to Twang and Bang. You might have already seen my video on Lehigh Defense's 68 grain controlled fracturing 9mm load, and it was a pretty cool test. It showed something different than what we're used to seeing in bullet performance and certainly in bullet design. Well, that bullet was designed for when over-penetration is a concern. Lehigh Defense also makes a 105 grain controlled fracturing load when under-penetration seems to be more of a concern of yours. And between these two tests, I think it's a pretty cool way of showing the broad range of performance that you can get out of a 9mm handgun. I'm going to show you another really cool test, as well as what makes the design of this 105 grain so different from even their 68 grain controlled fracturing load. And that's what's coming up next on Twang and Bang. The 105 grain controlled fracturing round from Lehigh Defense is made like most of their other bullets. It's machined from a solid piece of copper. Though it might be considered a hollow point, the hollow point is not there to initiate mushrooming. Instead, expansion breaks off 3 different petals to create 4 separate wound tracks. Lehigh Defense then uses this bullet in a load that's pretty hot for a 9mm round. You definitely feel a little bit more snap when you pull the trigger than with your typical range ammo. The bullet is designed specifically for autoloaders, and it's not recommended for use in revolvers because the forcing cone can initiate the fracturing before the bullet leaves the barrel. This angle really shows how deeply undercut those petals are, obviously to make them more easily fractured from the base of the bullet. And just like the 68 grain bullet, those side cuts go all the way through the opening of the hollow point. Here you can see the load compared to a 127 grain T-series in the center and 115 grain full metal jacket on the right. This bullet has a very conventional shape for a 9mm round, which means it'll feed better in guns that don't like fat bullets. This load puts out the same kinetic energy at 10 feet out of my G17 as the Ranger T-Series 124 grain plus P load is rated at the muzzle of a 6-inch barrel. From this angle, you can see just how wide the wound channels spread out from those fractured petals. This looks a whole lot more like Lehigh Defense's 300 blackout controlled fracturing loads. The 68 grain bullet actually had its petals much closer to the main wound channel, so I like seeing this a whole lot better. But even the main wound channel looks great from 2 inches all the way out to 9 inches where it narrows down. One petal stopped 6.5 inches into the block, the other 2 left the block. That means that the 3 wounds from the fractured petals extend in at least an 8-inch diameter away from the central wound channel. The base of the bullet penetrated a full 18 inches all the way into the block that I actually used for the 68 grain test. The base of the bullet weighed at just over 63 grains, and the recovered petal was at the expected 14 grains. Though I wouldn't expect the petals to shatter bone, the gel suggests they're enough to do damage to vascular or nervous tissue. When it comes to a fracturing bullet, the results from this test I think actually were significantly better than the 68 grain as far as creating, a better wound channel in the first 6-8 inches of tissue, but also the fractured petals spread off a lot farther from the main wound channel. And of course you get that 18 inches of penetration from the base. It's a very interesting bullet. It doesn't mean I'm ready to give up my Ranger T-Series in my 9mm when I carry it, but Lehigh Defense is clearly coming up with some very interesting bullet designs that deserve our attention. If you want to learn more about the 105 grain controlled fracturing 9mm load from Lehigh Defense, be sure to click the link in the video description below. If you like this video, please take the time to log into YouTube and click the like button. Now more than ever, YouTube needs to know that you like firearms-oriented programming. Be sure to click up here to subscribe so you can catch my next videos on bows, guns, and other cool stuff. I really appreciate you watching Twang and Bang, and hope to see you next time. Wow, the skeeters are so bad already.